Hello everybody, my name's Pastor James.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is my wife. Just want to make sure you guys know that. So what's on the agenda?
Today we're going to talk about open air street preaching.
Yes.
And freedom of speech.
What's that?
Oh, I don't know anymore. Do we have that? Is that a thing?
I think we have the illusion of freedom of speech. But
I think you said it right the first time. Illusion of freedom.
all right.
So, why don't you tell them what freedom of speech is?
Well, what freedom of speech was meant to be when the frame builders of the Constitution created was I can say whatever I want as long as I was out in public areas, no matter how morally wrong or unacceptable, no matter who it offended or why. There would be no reprisal. I mean, there would be nothing wrong. And then the government comes along and changes that. They create things called violent speech, hate speech. You can't attack this minority or that minority. I'm not saying attacking anybody through hate speech. What we call hate speech is biblically or morally acceptable to the God that I believe in and serve, which is the God of the Holy Bible. Jesus and God already created rules for all this stuff. By the way, I didn't need the government to come in and take God's place, but I'm getting off cue here. So what are we going to do?
Well, I think you were telling me earlier about a story of this street preacher who his rights were infringed upon.
Yes.
His freedom of speech rights.
Freedom of speech in America, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights says, no matter who likes it, and I mean who, that all free speech is protected. And what does all mean?
All means all, and that's all that all means.
There you go. There's a nugget for you. So we're talking about a gentleman back in 2022, and I remember this case because I started open air street preaching back in 2018, called Meinecke. And if I spell this right, great. If I don't or I pronounce it wrong, I apologize to you, kind sir. Meinecke. And just to give you a quick synopsis of that story, because I want to move on to something a little more important. Matt was harassed several times and his duties of preaching out in the open air in public. First, it was by people who were pro-abortionist, and he spoke at the political movement of Roe versus Wade, and he had his Bible stripped away from him and tore up by a group called Antifa. They violently, forcefully picked him up and carried him across the street several times, and I'll leave a link in the video description so you can go do your own research to support what I'm saying.
But aren't they just peaceful protesters?
No. They're paid protesters. And Matt walked back, and this happened several times. Then the cops were called on him by the same people that physically assaulted him and violently took his stuff and trashed it. Nevertheless, mind you. And he was arrested, taken to jail, because he refused to go back across the street as he was given an unlawful order and told that's where he had to preach. And then the second incident, if my memory serves me right, he went to an Alphabet Community Pride Festival. And pretty much the same thing happened again, where he was physically assaulted and so on and so forth, and then arrested. This time he wasn't released, and he was charged. And so what he did was he contacted there are Christian organizations, and I'll leave a couple of links down in the description part of the video for you if you're an open air street preacher like me and you need legal counsel on the subject. and you can go to them. They will take your case pro bono until you win, and I would encourage you to do so. And he contacted the right person at the right time, at the right place, and he sued. And he won. And the county and the law enforcement agency and the police lost a hefty amount of money. And this is precedented because let me tell you something. Free, open air speech, Christian teaching, reading of the Bible, and speaking against sin and depravity in America is under heavy attack. Just like it has been outlawed in Europe and England, and now they're trying to do the same thing in Canada. And the question is why?
Yeah, why? Street preachers are more, they're a little more aggressive, I would say. When it comes to getting out there and getting into the nitty-gritty places where people aren't comfortable. We were talking about that.
Yeah, so street preachers are street evangelists, open air preachers, whatever label you want to give them. These are evangelists. They're taking the gospel to places where everyday Americans go from all walks of life, and they are sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ to a community or communities or a people that otherwise would not hear it because they don't go to church. Now, they have just as much right to exercise their freedom of speech and religion like the rest of you do. But they are the Marines, the Navy SEALs, the Green Berets, the Special Forces, the best of the best of the best, of guys who will go in. And they'll go where most Christians won't go because most Christians are
not comfortable.
They're too afraid, not comfortable, complacent. I could go more on that, but I'm going to stop it right there because I didn't make this video with my wife to attack anybody. Why is the next question. Why is open air street preaching being attacked? And who is attacking it?
Well, why is it being attacked?
That's a good question. And I'm glad you asked that question, my dear.
Thank you. That was my idea.
So it was. These are her bullet points. She does all the writing and all the tech work. I'm just a mouthpiece and a preacher. So now you know the truth. I have a big mouth. All that being said, honestly, truly, there are two other communities in the world, especially in the West right now, that are strategically positioning themselves both politically, sociably, through shame and guilt, that are claiming to be the most marginalized communities. See, this is what they do. They attack Christianity, especially in public areas, and then claim to be attacked, and they play the victim role. When in fact, the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he knows the truth. And these two communities, although they are on opposing ends of the spectrum, are coming together for one purpose, one agenda, and one cause. Do you know what that agenda is, Tiffany?
To stop street preachers?
To stop the spread of the gospel. Why? Because they hate the gospel.
Why?
Because it goes against everything they believe in. That's why. And see, one of those communities actually can't stand members of the other one. And if the one was predominant numbers in any given area at any given time on this planet Earth and knew about the other one, they would actually murder them. Unalive them. So the question is, who are these two communities? Do you know?
Well, I would say we have the Islamic community, which we've been seeing a lot of things happening here in the U.S. and around the world, UK, when it comes to that community, and the freedom of speech when it comes to open air ministry. and
right.
people being put in jail because of it, because they're saying it's hate speech.
Right. So in Europe and now in Canada, the Islamic community, they have deep pockets. And we're not going to go into all that. And they are putting members of their community, especially in the West and in the United States, in strategic political positions of power, which should not be allowed. And they are affecting change in our legal system to bring about the silencing of Christianity and the promotion of Dawah. And if you don't know what Dawah is, Dawahism is the spreading of Islam and the destruction of Christianity. What's the other name of the other community, my love?
I don't remember.